Hey, what's up guys, Auto Fanatics. So today's video, I want to discuss the Race Chip GTS Black on a G87 BMW M2 manual. So I got the install all done. FYI, there's a couple of ways you could do this. There's the easy way and then there's the fill way. So the module, the way I do it, I made a custom bracket. Now there's a hole that's part of the aluminum strut tower like over here. I drilled and tapped, put stainless steel bolts with washers, so it's all locked in. I'll show you guys a picture right there. You have to undo the brace that goes to the cowl. You got to snake the wiring harness under. This has to come out. Air box has got to come out. All of these braces got to come out, including the engine cover. Now, FYI, I'll just let you guys know, there's 3 connections on this car. There's A, B, and C. B is right here, easy to get to. C is right here, easy to get to. A is a motherfucker to get to down below. You got to relocate a lot of stuff. Look at my hands, they're all chewed up. It's very, very hard to get that clip off. So FYI, that's going to be the hardest part of your job, is doing the A clip. And if you want to do a nice stealth mount, the way I did, you're going to spend some time fabricating a bracket, just because you just don't want it dangling around. Some guys, they'll strap it here with zip ties or here, and to me, it just looks stupid. And if you're trying to go under the radar, if you bring the car to the dealer, you could pop this little cover off, okay, and there's your GTS Black, and then you can put the little dummy plug back in there and get the car serviced. You're not gonna have a problem. So in this video, what I'm gonna show you, we're gonna do a POV video. I'm gonna show you exactly the menu of how this works. So now I did this same setup on my 23 G80 M3. This one was a little different. I don't know if it's because this is a newer car and different platform, you know, G87 versus G80, but on my car, this one has a dongle, I'll show you guys real quick, that goes into the OBD port right under here. Okay, you can see that there? That's part of the race chip. Now, when you order this kit, you have the opportunity to do it with the Bluetooth or without. Now, the reason I tell you to do it with the Bluetooth, if you want to change the modes, there's a little button over here that you could go from, you know, eco, sport, and race, and then there's different parameters you could do manually. I just think if you're going to permanently mount this and do a nice job mounting it over here, trying to go change the modes is going to drive you nuts, because you're going to have to pull it out. You're not going to be able to see. You're going to have to get a little bit of an inspection mirror. Does not make sense. So spend, I think it's like $50 more. Get the Bluetooth adapter, which now on this car has a little bit of a dongle, and that's the way it connects. So when you set it up, it's pretty easy. You basically connect the Bluetooth on your phone to the dongle. You pair it, you put in a code, make sure you write the code down. Now on the back of the GTS module, there's a 13-digit serial number. So FYI, before you permanently mount it, just word of advice, write the serial number down on a piece of paper or store it in your phone under like Race Chip Contact or whatever you want to do. Just because it's going to be hard if you mount it on a bracket to get the serial number. So that's just a little bit of an install advice, and just wanted to talk about that quickly in case anybody's going to do this themselves. It's a pretty simple install if you have a lot of patience and if you're willing to chew your hands up for about an hour to try to get that clip out. That's the hardest part of the job, and then you got to undo the shock adapter here for the adaptive shock. You got to do the arm to the cowl to get the wiring harness up and under it and down into that area. Otherwise, this weather stripping and these panels are not going to fit, so FYI. So let's strap the camera in. We'll go for a little bit of a drive. I'll show you guys the power delivery between all the modes, and there's one thing I'm going to talk about too. And on my G80 M3, the one thing that I noticed, because I used to drive it in mode 7 race all the time, the clutch cannot handle it. So I've installed about 6 of these already. A lot of the ones in the automatics are great. You're not gonna have any issues with that. But the clutch on a manual cannot handle mode 7 wide open throttle all the time. You're gonna burn the clutch out. So I'm gonna show you the modes that I feel are the best. I'm gonna show you the warm-up timer and all the menus and all that stuff right now. So let's get the camera strapped in. We'll go for a little bit of a drive. This is the situation, and I don't know an exact explanation of this. So whenever I've done these testings before, or installs before, I always tell the customer, leave it on Sport Plus, and then if you want, go into race. Like you see there, you got Sport, you got Eco, okay? So my understanding is that if you go into Eco, let's say you're in race, let's say you're in Sport Plus here, if you go into Eco here, it's not overriding the factory system. You can kind of see that there. So that's why I think if you're gonna be in Eco mode, probably put your engine in efficient mode. You wanna go in sport mode, put this in sport mode. And then if you want to go to race mode, you put it into Sport Plus. That's just my understanding and how I configure it, and I tell people to use it. So let me just show you guys real quick. So this has a little bit of a setup. Go to Eco. You hit that button right there. Now, there's different mappings for each mode. So for Eco, you have all different levels. So I've usually set these up. I go 3, 5, and 7. 7 is maximum. Then there's a warm-up timer. You guys can see that there. You could increase and decrease the warm-up timer. So what's going to happen is when you start the car up to go fire it up, you can't romp on it. Like, this programming tune will not be activated until that warm-up timer has elapsed. So FYI, we're just going to talk about that. We're not going to really go into eco mode. None of you guys care about that stuff. We're going to go into sport mode because sport mode, tune number 5, seems to be the best as far as what I feel is the best on the street with a manual BMW, okay? So we'll just show you guys real quick. You know, the car feels totally normal. There's no, excuse me, there's no issues like where the power is going to come in abruptly and you're going to feel totally weird. Now, we're going to leave this open, but you don't have to leave it open. So another thing, too, when you turn the car off, it's going to default to the last used setting, which is pretty good. So if you're using sport mode as a daily, you don't have to open up the app unless you're willing to go and change something with the mapping or the mode itself, which is pretty good. So the owner of this car, you know, he loves the car as a daily, but he just says it was just very underwhelming, you know, with the horsepower, and I kind of get it. So right there, that little punch gave it a lot more linear torque and horsepower. You could feel it. It didn't bog down the way this car usually would. So we're just gonna go. So I just feel sport mode with the sport tune on the Race Chip, level 5, feels the best with a manual transmission, G80, G87, whatever. It just seems to feel the best. Now you go into race mode number 7, which I'm gonna demo that for you guys in a minute when we get onto the highway. That's where things get a little sketchy. What happens is, you know, the car's chassis is set up a certain way for the power that comes with the car. As soon as you start adding a lot of horsepower and torque, the back suspension arms, the toe arms and the camber arms, they deflect a lot. And with this car, with the shorter wheelbase, it actually makes the car feel extremely nervous. Okay, so we're in sport mode on the car, sport mode on the Race GTS Black. Map number 5, 3rd gear. I'm gonna punch it. And it's a nice linear pull to about 90 miles an hour, like instantaneously. There's no delay, no issues with that. So on the highway, that just seems to work the best. The eco mode, I don't think we're gonna wanna do that. Why are you gonna do a performance mode in your car and you're worried about fuel economy? That's irrelevant, but it's part of the feature of the car. And also of the Race Chip GTS Black. So now we're going to go into race mode. Put that in race, put that in Sport Plus. Go back into 3rd gear. Let's punch it again. So it's a little bit sharper in the power delivery between sport and race and going from map 5 to map 7. And of course, this Camry wants to, I mean, it feels amazing. You know, you hit 100 miles an hour, nothing. There's no bogs, there's no delays. It's just a very, very linear power delivery. So I think the product, Race Chip itself, is a very, very good product. They're made in Germany. I really think they spent a lot of time developing the mapping so it's not overdone. I mean, the only other option, if you want to tune a G-Series ECU, you got to take the ECU out of the car. You got to ship it to some guy, I think in Ukraine, so he can unlock the ECU, and then you have to have a tuner in the United States do it. Now, granted, if you go that route, you have a lot more options. If you're going to do bigger turbos, you're going to do different intakes, you want to do the pops and bangs and all of that crap, yeah, you do have more options to fine-tune the car if you want to do E85 as well. The problem that I look into with that, there is a war going on in that part of the world, and if you send the ECU, and if customs wants to break your balls, your ECU is going to get lost and not delivered, and now you're going to be really in big trouble to go get your car flatbedded to the dealer and say, oh yeah, somebody stole my ECU. And a couple of $1,000s later, and who knows when, you'll get a new ECU in the car. But I'm going to pull over for a second. On a local road, I'm going to punch it, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about regarding, like, if you're in race mode, map 7, on the street, the back of this car is all over the place, and it feels like it wants to send you into the next lane and get you killed. That's the suspension geometry and the limitations of the factory suspension arm and the bushings doing that, because there's so much more torque and power. The car squats, and then it just starts wiggling all over the place. So I'll pull over in a couple of minutes, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys, just pull over on a local road. I just want to show you guys. So we're in Sport Plus, M2 mode, traction off. We're in race mode, and we go here. We're in map number 7. 7 is the maximum we could go. So what I want to talk about is, when you're on the highway, totally fine. But when you're on a local road, if you're going to like start racing people stoplight to stoplight with a manual, you are going to smoke the clutch. Let me show you guys. The clutch just slips like crazy going into second gear. But the car, I mean, it pulls like a son of a bitch. But that's the only limitation, is the rear suspension geometry gets a little funky. Yeah, you can see like I'm correcting the steering wheel because the back of the car, the toe is kind of getting all wonky. So that's just it. Short video on the G87 M2 manual with the Race Chip GTS Black. I think it's a great upgrade. I hope the client enjoys it. I hope so, because I recommended it to him. It's pretty non-invasive. Like I said, if you want to do a custom install and make it look a lot nicer, take the time and do it right, like I kind of explained in the intro of the video. And if you have a manual, just don't abuse the car on local roads, because you are going to destroy the clutch, and BMW is not going to warranty it. FYI, if you have a ZF 8-speed automatic, you could probably beat the crap out of it all day long, and it's probably not going to do anything. So thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more content. Big exciting news coming, most likely in the month of July, and I'll talk to you guys more about that in an upcoming video. Also, we're thinking about doing some live streaming from the shop on a lot of the upcoming projects that I'm going to be working on. So we'll talk about that in an upcoming video soon. And I'll see you guys later. Any questions or comments on the Race Chip GTS, post them in the comments below. Let me know what you guys like. If you guys use different brands, have you guys sent out your ECU to the Ukraine, to that company to unlock it? Let me know what you guys think. But overall, if you want a little bit of a boost in power for $699, this is a no-brainer. See you guys in the next one soon. Take care, guys.